Hey Laura, guess what my last car was?
What?
A Volkswagen Golf R.
Oh.
It's okay, it's okay. You know what I drive now?
What?
A Volvo V90 T5 R design. Stay tuned. Find out why I'm talking like an idiot.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Married with Comics. I am your captain for the night. And this is my first mate, my husband Scott. So today we are not just talking about random R's and ship stuff. We're talking about pirates! And not just any pirate story. We're talking about Man Among Ye by Stephanie Phillips. And this is a tale of not just any pirate, but a female pirate. Now,
My favorite kind.
well, yeah. Before we get started on our pirate adventure, just wanted to announce our giveaway. So at this point, we are hoping to do a live show next Sunday to announce our giveaway and answer any questions, have a bit of fun, talk about our pull list, and have more of an informal discussion with you all instead of us just talking to the camera. We are working out the exact time, making sure that we get everything kind of pieced together. So those details are coming soon. I apologize that we were not able to do it this Sunday, but that's because of GalaxyCon. So we have more Comic-Con content coming to you very, very soon. But I did at least want to show off our giveaways. This is our 250 subscriber giveaway. So one of you will qualify for a free copy of Witches, which is brand new thanks to Kevin, and our copy of Chew, which I did read, but it's gently read, I promise. Both of these are series that I absolutely love. If you have never read either of these, then you will now have the opportunity to. Next subscriber giveaway is going to be our 500 subscriber giveaway. This is for those who are commenting on videos. So this is a special category. So if you are regularly commenting on videos and subscribe to the channel, you can qualify for it. Is a Ken Lashley variant of Nonstop Spider-Man issue number 1, but it has been remarked and signed by the artist. So there will be a different 500 subscriber giveaway for those of you who are just subscribed but not commenting, but I haven't announced it yet. So, just letting you know. Goodies are coming very, very soon, and you could qualify for an even better comic book. Just keep commenting on the videos. So, before we get started into the story, one of the many things that actually drew me to this was I was familiar with Annebonny. For those of you that don't know, she is a real female pirate who sailed the 7 seas and was kick butt and took names. There's another female pirate as well by the name of Maryread, who also, had a life of piracy. So when I found out that they were doing a comic book story about both of those, real life people, I was very intrigued, definitely on board. And then we went on vacation to the Outer Banks. And I'm sorry, if you're going to go to the beach where there were pirates, what else could you possibly read beyond a pirate story? Just saying.
Yeah. We were close to Ocracoke, which is Blackbeard territory, one of the places that he lived and actually had a house. So the female pirates, they're my favorite because I dig the pirate booty.
Oh, really?
No? Is that enough?
No.
Okay, good.
I have a
I'm
feeling this is not done.
But speaking about Annebonny in historical terms, so there are actual accounts of her. There are actual accounts of Captain Jack Rackham.
Jack Rackham.
Yeah.
Which is Calico Jack.
Calico Jack, exactly. Whom she was part of the crew with. The long version of it is, if you want to look at the historical nonfiction versions of this, there is material out there. There have been multiple different fictional versions of this, besides the stuff we're getting ready to talk about, including Black Sails, an old Starz, I believe it was, series. Yes. That had 2 characters in there that were loosely based on the women that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Calico Jack was in there as well. Edward Teach, Blackbeard. So a lot of historical references in that series, and a lot of
not
literary license.
references.
But anyhow.
Still a great series.
Yes.
We both enjoyed it a lot. Now,
it's one of the reasons why when I saw this book on the shelf the first time, I saw a single issue of it, I was immediately drawn to it because I picked it up, read the brief description, and realized they were referring to Bonny. And we had watched Black Sails, and growing up in North Carolina, having a love of history, I'd heard about, the Pirate Coast, etc. So a lot of stuff about it that we were intrigued by.
Definitely.
One of the things that I'm talking about, the book that I saw, is by Stephanie Phillips, Amanamongye.
So what this one did is more of a setup of the initial characters. So you do see Jack Rackham, you definitely see Annebonny, and you get the introduction of Maryread into this storyline. At this particular point, when this is starting, Annebonny is already established as a pirate. She and Captain Jack are definitely an item. They're romantically involved, as well as there's a kind of respect that goes mutually between the two characters in this story, where he definitely appreciates more than just her good looks. She's very ruthless. There's a plot twist, and then we start having some very interesting things happen with all the female characters. Maryread is introduced, and we get to see some more, kick-butt women in a pirate story. Last year's San Diego Comic-Con at home, they did a panel, and I can't remember what the title of the panel was, but they talked about this specific story. What Stephanie Phillips made a point of saying, the first thing, she did not want the pirate life to suddenly be idolized in a way that's not realistic. She wanted this to be a gritty story, more realistic than just our beautified pirate life. The other big thing that she said was she wanted to make sure that the women in this pirate story were also not, living in their little castle on a cloud kind of thing. If you are a female and you're a pirate, you're exposed to a lot of very real things. So it was trying to make sure that you understand that, yes, there's grit on a pirate ship, but if you're a woman in that grit, there are very few, oh, well, you're a girl, so therefore you don't have to go through some of these tougher situations.
No, in fact, it was the exact opposite. So historically speaking, for years, women on a ship were viewed as bad luck.
Yes.
Women, crew members specifically, were just not heard of for that reason. Like, there was a lot of mistaken lore that, that would be the cause for a ship sinking, or that would be the cause for a dead wind, there were a lot of negative things that were attached to the idea of a female, crew ship. There have been other historical actual accounts of women who disguise themselves as men to be able to join a crew.
Or to get passage.
Yep, in order to get away, get on board, to get someplace else, or to simply hide themselves sometimes, escaping worse circumstance, perhaps.
Yeah.
But in short, it's more of a real-life depiction, less of the fantasized, fluffy version. The thing I really like about it, too, is that when she addresses it in this story, Annebonny being, not just part of the crew, but she has a status within the crew that some people below her in the crew think she only achieves because she's quote-unquote sleeping with the boss, right? The captain. And she definitely finds herself having to not just earn it, but defend her position in the crew. And her abilities, luckily, for her, match the level that she's been given, so she's able to do that. But the fact that she has to keep backing it up probably would get tiring.
For those of you that have seen the Starz TV show Black Sails, that one is like very graphic. Black Sails.
That's not something I'd watch with my mother in the room.
Exactly. So with this one, on the other hand, I would safely say that you could have a teenager, like an older teenager, read this. It is still gritty, but it is not to that same Starz level of grittiness.
Yeah, I would agree. One of my all-time favorites growing up as a very young boy, I read Treasure Island.
Yes.
It's a go-to for me. It's one of the classics. Like, I'll listen to an Audible version of it again from time to time. It's something I've read more than once and will read again. To me, this was on similar level to that, in that I read that at a very early age and I had a certain understanding of it. I read it again later, and I had a little bit different understanding of it because of my own personal experience and being a little more mature. But at that young age, I was still able to read it and not have like nightmares and not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So I think this is a good kind of, it fit just about any age category. The more experienced or mature the reader, the more you'll get out of it. But the younger reader would still be able to read it and find
enjoy
it exciting.
And it's definitely an adventure story. So
It is definitely that.
We read it, while I started it while I was on the beach. Hard life.
Yeah.
But it was not so complex that we're talking like Department of Truth levels and layers and oh my goodness. It's meant to be an adventure story. It's meant to be kind of that Treasure Island adventure story. Mm-hmm. So they definitely did a great job with that. Volume 2 is coming out soon. They still have the single issues that are available in that series. I believe Volume 2 comes out either late fall or early winter. So it left me wanting more. I didn't finish the series and go, okay, it's like a Lady Mechanica, where I didn't finish it and go, okay, that was fun, put it down. I probably won't pick up that title for another, 6 months or a year. For this, if Volume 2 had been immediately available, I would have jumped straight to Volume 2. Now, the other fun thing that we did while we were on vacation, because we were on the Pirate Coast, I'm like, gotta have a little bit of fun. So, beyond the fact that I had a bit of fun with some of the pictures, what we also did is we purchased the original, pirate lore for especially the Outer Banks. So this is Pirates, Ghosts, and Coastal Lore, the best of Judge Whedbee.
Yes, who is a pretty well-known author from that area. He was an actual judge. That's not just a nickname. He fell in love with the Outer Banks area. Anyhow, started writing and collecting these stories and putting them down. There are a couple different volumes.
Definitely.
When we made the return trip, I was talking to our neighbor that had helped us with the dogs while we were gone, and said, hey, we got this really cool book by a local author. And she was like, oh, there's this guy that we used to love reading, and I can't remember his name. And I was like, Judge Whedbee. And she was like, that's it. So, and they used to go to the Outer Banks every year, but he's pretty well known in I guess you would call it within the state for sure. And definitely in that area.
When you go to the shops, any of the stores, and you look at the books that are available, you will have at least one, if not 3 of his books available. Yeah. So I picked this one specifically. We did buy another one, but I picked this one because it has the original tale of Annebonny and Maryread. So I wanted to see kind of what was the original lore for these characters, and then compare it to amanamongye. Mm-hmm. One big thing that I do want to say before I go into the actual story. This one is much, much longer. If you were going to put this story into comic book form, it would be probably 4 volumes of storyline and characters and history. And so there's a lot that goes on in this story. So comparing it to 1 volume is a little unfair.
Apples to oranges.
Apples to oranges for sure. But what I loved about Annebonny's description in this is you definitely got a sense of both women, that they didn't fit in their society. So for instance, for Maryread in the original lore, her grandfather always wanted a son, so they basically raised her as a boy. So it made sense why trying to be a woman who was raised as a boy in that time period didn't make sense. So then eventually she just stayed in the boys' clothes that she'd been in for forever and hopped on a pirate ship. This one is one of my favorites. So they keep describing Annebonny as a fierce and courageous person with a temper. They say in here, there's a reliable local tradition that insists that when a frightened maidservant once accidentally spilled hot soup on Annebonny's favorite dress, that she seized a dirk from the nearby mantle and disemboweled the luckless maiden. Stuff like that you just can't make up.
You spilled my soup. I got you like a fish. Okay.
There you go.
Scales of justice there. Whatever. Different time, different era, but sure.
So I will say, just from that little teeny tiny clip I gave you, there are definitely more adult-like things that happen to Anne, Bonny, and Mary Read in this story. It is more of your R-rated. Like I said, when I say gritty, it is more gritty, but it is still not at like Starz level.
Well, and the thing about her as a character is a real life person too. We're getting a little bit away from Amanamongye into the person that it's based on, but she at one point was eventually captured and was sentenced to die, and in order to delay her execution, she claimed to be pregnant. Yes. And she wasn't. So the fact that, you know, she was conniving and hot-tempered and able to survive in a man's world, or in a time when women didn't do what she did, she's earned a place amongst our favorite like female characters, and to have a comic book that was, you know, based on her, like, we like that. It's not necessarily whether we're approving of her brutality or whatever, it's that she was cunning enough and skilled enough and strong enough to be able to do what she did in the time that she did it in. I want to read more about a person like that, a real life person, whether it's a comic book version or a memoir or something else, folklore, because those are the people that those are the people I admire anyhow.
Definitely. I do believe, honestly, that Stephanie Phillips, in my eyes, was a fan of Anne, Bonny, and Mary Read. You could tell that there is a respect for the characters. And yes, these are her interpretation of the characters, just like Judge Whedbee. I mean, he doesn't know for sure. He is going off of what he's been told from a person who knew a person who knew a person. So even though this is really, really enjoyable and it's definitely a great read, he's still guessing. And so she was trying to create her own versions of these characters, knowing that they are inspired by a true story. And I definitely feel like she did a very good job of trying to kind of encapsulate the characters and kind of draw us all in. So
drew me in. I'm ready for volume 2. So
I am definitely ready for the next one and can't wait to see more.
Mm-hmm. There are no bad pirate jokes. They're all great. No?
No.
No.
Bottle of rum.
Any other pirate fans out there? Any other Treasure Island fans out there? Any other Black Sails fans out there that weren't already aware of this series? Definitely recommend you check it out. Or did you already know about it? Or have read it? Have something to, you know, agree or disagree with something that we said about it? By all means, let us know below.
And yes, if you have any cheesy pirate jokes that you want to throw into the comments, tally ho, we will laugh with you. At you a little bit, but we'll laugh with you too. So yeah, let us know down in the comments. We look forward to talking to you all again soon. This is the captain and first mate of the great pirate ship, Revenge. And we will see you all again very soon. Have a great day, everyone.